thanks to Bruce Grobbelaar, as you mentioned, what he was doing.
Yeah, the spaghetti legs. And I just wonder as well, just referring to that final again, should Jurgen Klopp get the players into some sort of strong singing voice, Alan? Because that's what you did in '84. How did Chris Rea fit into all of this?
Yeah, walking out of the tunnel. I think the Roma players delayed the walking out deliberately, I have to say, and we decided to sing a song. To be fair, Chris Rea is one of my favourite artists.
Well, that's handy.
Yeah, we ended up. I knew the words to it, but I was a poor singer.
Which song was it? Do you remember which song it was?
I don't know what it is, but I love it. I don't know which.
That's the name of the song, isn't it? I don't know what it is, but I love it. Yeah,
but I love it. And we knew the words. We knew some of the. A guitar. He's got a guitar in his hand and he's pulling the strings and he's doing everything, and that made us feel nice and relaxed about going out. And I think the Roma players were a bit shocked by it, but we ended up doing the job which we set out to do.
Maybe Mo Salah's got a classic from the Egyptian hit parade that we'll get the rest of the team going along with. We'll see.
Well, there's plenty of songs written, singing about him at the moment, isn't there?
That's true.
I'm sure he's loving it, and he's in the form of his life, isn't he? As you mentioned before, he's got well over 40 goals in all competitions for Liverpool, and really is, unbelievably good at scoring. But it's not just about him; it's about the rest of the team as well.
Alan, it's interesting reading in the Daily Mail this week, Bruce Grobbelaar's interview. He says that
yeah, Conte and Graziani missed the penalties.
And Graziani's challenged him to a rematch.
I believe so. Yes, I believe so. I think it'd be interesting.
Do you think he's still got the spaghetti in the knees?
I think he has, and I think he's very, very good. He's been over to this country for a few weeks and months now, and I do believe Bruce is a character that you need in the game, and I suppose that's what characters were about in those days.
Yeah, let's focus on tonight's game. We've been stressing how solid Roma are at home, specifically in the Champions League. They haven't conceded at home yet, but looking at their away domestic form, that's actually really, really good. Third in the Serie A away table. How important then do you think it is that Liverpool win tonight?
Yeah, it's very important. It's the first leg, and I do believe Liverpool have to get on the score sheet. They've got 60 odd goals between the front three, so there is a chance that one of them will score a goal. But as long as the game goes on and Liverpool keep it at 0-0, I think the important thing is not to concede a goal tonight. That's very, very important. And then you can build on that. You might just get one in the last minute. It doesn't matter. But I think Liverpool are so good at the moment at giving defences a bit of a problem. I think Liverpool will score tonight, and just hope that they don't concede any goals at the back.
We spoke to the Liverpool-based journalist Melissa Reddy, who works for joe.co.uk earlier on this programme. She mentioned that when Roma played Barcelona, they were pretty aggressive towards Lionel Messi. Do you imagine that Mo Salah will come in for the same sort of treatment?
Over the last few games, but he seems to ride it, seems to get on with it. He's very, very good. And he does his talking on the pitch by scoring goals. And I don't think there will be a problem. But I understand Roma are very, very good and very, very solid. Certainly not at giving goals away, but that's their home record. Their away record is a little bit different.
Yeah, well, now we know about the atmosphere at Anfield. It was electric for that Manchester City game in the quarter-final. How much does that add to you guys as players on the field when you hear that electric atmosphere within the ground?
Well, that was the best atmosphere I'd heard at Liverpool for quite a while. It was the whole stadium that was up and down, and they were obviously very pleased that they were winning by either 1 goal, 2 goals or 3 goals against Manchester City. It's very, very important that the crowd get behind Liverpool, as they did back in the 83, 84 season. It was a long season for us in that particular season, but the crowd were very much behind us, and particularly when we went to Rome, to play against Roma. So it's very, very important that they do get behind Liverpool tonight.
We had a 2-0 prediction earlier on to Liverpool, was the guess. What do you think, Alan? How do you think it's going to go tonight?
That's a pretty good scoreline for me.
Yeah.
I'd certainly settle for that. I do think, Edin Dzeko is a very, very good centre forward and is dangerous both in the air. But Liverpool have got, a good balance in the team now. The Van Dijk, when he's come into the team, has done very, very well. Karius looks a little bit better, more steadier. So I do think that the Liverpool have definitely got goals in them, because that's the way the manager wants to play. So for me, 2-0 would be a great result for Liverpool.
Just looking at a photo of you kissing the European Cup there, Alan. Wow. I mean, it's the best cup, actually, isn't it? I love the fact they must have just gone, right, European, let's just make it massive. And it's a huge cup that you're cradling there. Thank you so much, Alan. Really great to speak to you.
Thank you very much.
Absolute Liverpool hero, Liverpool legend, Alan Kennedy. What do you start your career and you think, I hope I do well in this football game? And then you end up scoring the winning goal in 2 European Cup finals. Can't be bad, can it? Tonight then, 5 Live Sport is on air from the earlier time of 6:30 this evening. Mark Bugach and guests building up to live commentary of the match, Liverpool's Champions League semi-final, the first leg against Roma at Anfield. Commentary beginning at 7:45. It's 8:22 now.
This is BBC 5 Live on digital, online, smartphone and tablet.
Back live in Doncaster, looking at the high street there. There was an accident there that was moved to the hard shoulder about 40 minutes ago, but it has left queues of well over an hour back to Junction 5 for the M180 at Stainforth. The northbound side of the M18, although all lanes are open, traffic is very slow from Junction 1 at Bramley, heading towards Junction as well, not helped by the fact the westbound M62 was also closed earlier at Junction 34 at Doncaster. The M62 itself on that stretch, though, is actually looking okay now. The M62 eastbound at Junction 25 at Brighouse, the accident was moved about half an hour ago, still slow back to Junction 24 at Ainley Top. The M60 clockwise at Junction 16 at Pendlebury, they've moved that broken down lorry. Queues of about an hour go back to Junction 12, the Eccles interchange. The M1 southbound after Junction 29 at Chesterfield, the breakdown blocking one lane and causing queues. The M1 heading south is partially blocked before Junction 21 at Leicester. That's because of an accident and traffic is very slow. The M25 anti-clockwise, a broken down lorry at Junction 28 Brook Street roundabout is blocking one lane. Long queues head back to the exit of the Dartford tunnels. The M25 anti-clockwise.
An unforgettable summer of cricket with 5 Live and 5 Live Sports Extra.
Morning, it's 8:24. This is a tune familiar to many of us watching decades of these ads appearing on TV. But after today, Toys R Us in the UK is no more. The last store closes. One of a number of retailers to announce recently they're either shutting down or closing some of their shops. Sean Farrington is in Doncaster, which is one of the towns most affected by the current crisis on the High Street. I had a text on the High Street earlier. Sean, I'm sure this is something you'll have discussed, saying our small country town in West Sussex footfall is down over the past 18 months. Why? Because of parking charges. Before charges in the main high street, the car park shoppers were allowed a couple of hours between 8 and 4 p.m. Thereafter, no restrictions. Now the time for charges has been increased. For the first year, the pay machine only accepted cards. Business rates are ridiculously high, together with high rents. Shops are standing empty. We just have charity shops in their places. All of this will be very familiar to many people. This is, I think it's Staining is the place where he's texting from. He says business rates have to be slashed and parking made free.
Yeah, those are definitely two issues that have come up amongst many this morning in Doncaster. Doncaster's a good reflection of what's going on, because the high street I'm on at the moment, right next to the main market square, there's a William Hill next to me. I've got a Pound Bakery, a little bit further on the horizon, a British Heart Foundation. The British High Street is very much like this high street in Doncaster. Why we're here is because Doncaster's got a couple of Toys R Us stores. It's got a Maplin, a New Look. So like many towns around the UK, it will be feeling the pressure a little bit more in these early months. And what is going to replace those units? What's good though about Doncaster is that you can see there is an appetite for retail here. We're right in front of market veg store, fruit and veg stalls, and the fish market are setting up around the corner. People are willing to pay their money for their products, and people are willing, as we were hearing from Fran Bishop a bit earlier, to go to those new refreshing shops that are popping up around the place. But why is it that certain retailers can't make it? I've got Darren Yates with me here, who's head of European retail at Cushman and Wakefield, commercial property firm. Morning, Darren.
Hi, Sean.
Now, when you look at landlords and their relationship with these big retailers, we're hearing a lot of big retailers almost begging these landlords, saying, we need these rents cut. Why don't landlords cut their rents a little more easily and allow more city centres to thrive?
Well, I mean, clearly this is a business and transactional relationship, but we've done some research recently on 250 high streets around the UK, and we've actually looked at how rents have performed over the last 10 years. And the fact is, while rents might be very high in some locations, the reality is that rents have only grown in about 19 out of those 250 locations over the last 10 years.
So does that show they were just too high in the first place?
Potentially, yes. But I think fundamentally we've got an oversupply of retail space in the UK, probably to the tune of 25 to 30%, I would say, on average across the board. And if you look at vacancy rates, the national average is something like 12 to 13%. It's a very polarised picture. So in some locations in central London, for example, if you look at Bond Street, Regent Street, Oxford Street, vacancy rates are pretty low and sometimes zero.
Of course, I mean, they are the prime spots of the entire UK. It's a bit different for the Doncaster High Street.
At the other end of the spectrum, you've got some very small and medium-sized towns, say in the north of England, parts of Wales and Scotland. Rents have fallen quite sharply over recent years, and vacancy rates
will be part of that conversation, won't they?
Yeah, indeed. But again, I think you need to remember that it's a transactional and a business relationship. Landlords will charge what they can get away with, but I think equally retailers will only go to a certain rental level that they feel they can afford to pay.
Of course, and they won't stay there. Darren, thank you very much. We're going to have a chat to a few retailers here now. We've got Ryan, who's just next to us. Ryan, you've been busy in a way, setting up your stall. KD Davis & Sons, the greengrocers.
You can still come to your local independent milk market, or whether it be a shop on a high street, and just see you can get the freshest produce at the right price and with good customer service.
And interestingly, the way the supermarkets are sort of saying, wonky veg is great these days. When you come into, has that kind of thing helped you a little bit? The fact that they're saying, do you know what? Not everything has to be pristine and packaged and served to you on a plate.
I like thanks supermarkets personally. It's done us wonders. People coming to us and asking for wonky veg. Well, it's not wonky veg to us. It's a big carrot or a small carrot. It's nothing's changed. So thanks, Mr. Tesco or Morris Sainsbury's for doing that to us. It's doing us wonders. And keep cracking on.
Ryan, thanks very much. I'll let you crack on with the rest of your day now. I've got Nigel with me here. Nigel, Marston's Quality Shellfish.
That's us, yes.
How long have you been here? You were showing me pictures earlier.
Well, I've been in the market 47 years.
And that market has changed quite a bit. It wasn't fishing as originally, it wasn't seafood.
No, I started working on one of the fish burgers and game dealers, and then about just about 28 years ago I moved on to this stall, and I've been here ever since.
Again, you've got a lot of seafood here from from all over the world, and from mussels to crab meat to you've got everything.
Yeah.
You're going to have to sell this today, aren't you?
Yeah, we're trading with it.
Who's buying it?
Doncaster people, and from far and wide. We get people coming into Doncaster from all over because they know how good this market is.
Just finally, if you had one tip for somebody who's, say, at the top of Debenhams at the minute, or New Look, and they're thinking, this is going to be a tough year, how do we get through it? What would you say to them?
Look after your customers. You've got to know your customers, and they're key to keeping retail going. Look after your customers.
Nigel, thank you very much. I'll let you to get on and prepare for those customers who are coming along later today. So there is a lot of positivity from the retailers here in Doncaster, despite the fact we hear of those major retailers more nationally having problems. That doesn't mean it's not easy for towns like Doncaster to make their high streets look as nice and as thriving as they would like them to.
Thank you very much, Sean. And lots of you getting in touch this morning about parking charges. Inevitably, Dudley has just made their local council car parks 2 hours free parking. Well done. Local retailers and residents love it, says Dawn. And thank you to those of you correcting me on Stenning. You were too polite to do it. It's very unlike you.
My politeness.
Right, coming up after 9 o'clock this morning, we've heard from Alfie Evanstown today here on 5 Live Breakfast, who says he believes there is still hope for his son, and he's breathing, he's not ready to die. This case, of course, has been thrust into the public domain. Lots of judgment on all sides. And many of you on the text very vociferous this morning in your views on this case. Here's one. We are a strange society. The legal system forces people with terrible illnesses to stay alive and don't let them die with the dignity they crave. Yet happy to condemn to death Alfie is a point of principle. I fail to understand why they don't just let him go to Italy. It can't surely do him any harm, but it will give his parents peace if he does survive or does not survive. And Tom Evans, this one, it would be wise to sit with his son and not to chat to the press. How like a 21-year-old man to know more than the medics. The child requires support to live, and that is the end of it. Really strong views, of course, on all sides here. There can be no doubt it's a very sad and tragic situation for everyone involved, and we know that the staff in the hospital as well are facing terrible abuse amongst all of this. After 9 o'clock, we'd like to hear your experiences of those decisions being made at the edge of life. It may be involving children, it may be involving adults. Have you been there? What's it like as a parent or a relative?
With him, the two-time European Cup winner Alan Kennedy, he's told 5 Live Breakfast it's very important Liverpool win tonight's Champions League semi-final first leg against Roma at Anfield, because tonight's visitors have such a mean defence back in the Italian capital. Liverpool are the top scorers in this year's Champions League, but Roma haven't conceded a single goal in their Stadio Olimpico.
I think the important thing is not to concede a goal tonight. I think Liverpool will score tonight and just hope that they don't concede any goals.
Yeah, Roma have advanced from the last 2 knockout rounds against Shakhtar and Barcelona, both on away goals. Alan Kennedy, by the way, scored the winning penalty when Liverpool beat Roma in the 1984 European final. He also said Liverpool's fans need to recreate the special atmosphere from the home win over Manchester City. Earlier in the competition, the boss, Jurgen Klopp, he agrees. His captain, Jordan Henderson, says the players can't get caught up in the occasion.
Playing the semi-final of the Champions League at Anfield is a huge occasion. That's what you dream about, is playing against the best teams in Europe, and Roma certainly being that, so that'll be a fantastic night. But you've got to keep your focus on what's important, and the important thing is you've got to do your job to the best of your ability and give everything in the game.
Everton are 8th in the Premier League after beating Newcastle 1-0 last night. Theo Walcott scored the goal. One banner called for Sam Allardyce to exit Goodison Park, but the Everton defender Michael Keane says the players are right behind their boss.
Massively. I think he's been brilliant since he's come in here. Obviously, some games we haven't played to our potential, but I think that could be the case with any manager. I think he's done as much as he could, and the lads are really happy.
England captain Dylan Hartley says he's disappointed to miss the rest of Northampton's season and the England summer tour to South Africa. This follows concussion advice. Hartley was injured playing for England against Ireland in the Six Nations. He says that medical warnings were hard to take. The former Wales forward Jonathan Thomas had to retire from the game because of head trauma.
You could be having these symptoms as a player, but it's very difficult for other people to know you're having these symptoms unless you put your hand up and you're honest. It's obvious when players stumble or they fall to the floor. It's very easy for the medical experts to take people off the pitch, but there's a lot of players that will be getting these symptoms, and because of the sort of mindset of a rugby player, you never want to leave the field.
World number 51 Jamie Jones recovered from 8-5 down to beat the former champion Shaun Murphy 10-9 in the opening round of the World Snooker Championship. Jones took it on a final frame decider.
I think it's my best victory. I've never faced pressure like that, like I felt today. I've played plenty of deciders, but there's pressure out there in frame 1, never mind the decider, and just to come through and hold myself together, I'm very pleased.
So Jamie Jones is through, so too Barry Hawkins on his birthday. He beat Stuart Carrington 10-7. England Test captain Joe Root says the new proposed 100-ball competition shouldn't be seen as a threat to the other formats of the game. The ECB want to introduce the format into their new 8-team city-based competition.
We've got to be very careful that we don't measure it against the other formats. It's something to gather a new audience, gain interest, make it really simple and easy for everyone to understand, and not see it as a threat to the other formats. We've got to find ways of making sure that the other formats don't suffer from this.
Joe Root was speaking at the opening of his new Root Academy. That's in Sheffield.
This is BBC 5 Live on digital, online, smartphone and tablet.
Endless coverage of the new royal baby, as you'd expect, all over the newspapers this morning. In fact, Little Prince Perfect 16-page souvenir pull-out in the Daily Mail.
In addition.
That is if you get through the first...
Exactly.
19...
To Manchester and in towards East Yorkshire, and maximum temperatures about 12 to 15 Celsius.
This is BBC 5 Live, available on the BBC iPlayer radio app. 5 Live Breakfast.
Good morning. We have an exclusive interview this morning with the first person to have had a murder conviction quashed following a ruling on what's called joint enterprise crimes.
Now, joint enterprise is part of law that means that people can be convicted of wounding or murder even if they didn't deliver a blow. And in many cases, it was used to convict gang members who were present at attacks even if they didn't take part directly, but could have foreseen what might happen.
But 2 years ago, judges said that law was wrong. Well, this morning we hear from the first person to have had his murder conviction and 5. He served 13 years in prison, but he has successfully appealed. He was freed last week, having his sentence reduced to manslaughter. And he spoke to 5 Live Breakfast's Kieran Tracy, who began by asking him how it felt to be released.
I wasn't guilty of murder. I totally accept what I did, and it was wrong. And I fully accept to do the time. I would have done every day that, but I'm not a murderer. That's important to me, you know, I'm not a murderer. It just seems burden of proof and intentions don't matter anymore. You can just apply joint enterprise, and as long as there's something's possible, there could be life on Mars. That's how wide it is. It's ridiculous. And so it's all about intent, and in that house at that time, I never had any intent to hurt anybody.
Can you give us a picture of where you were in your life at that time?
I was lost, wasn't I? I was a bad drug addict, but I wasn't a violent drug addict. Go on with my life, and I just lost myself. But obviously, that person, I found him again because I'm out now. I'm educated. I've done what I should have done years ago. And there's people rotting away in prisons now, a lot more innocent than me. And it just breaks my heart, basically.
What did you think when you saw the joint enterprise decision come in 2016? What did you think about your own case whenever that decision came, that the law had been interpreted wrongly for 30 years?
Oh, I thought I was going to be out in a couple of months. I thought, you know, they'd finally admitted or realised what was going on. It's hard to believe that they didn't know what was going on. This is the esteemed judiciary of what we're supposed to be intellectual people. But yeah, when they did finally accept that if they'd been applying the law wrong, I thought people were just going to start getting out. When you apply intent like you're supposed to do, you get the right decision. But if you apply some hocus-pocus nonsense, you get results like a lot of people have got, like I got. Just to be seen to be doing the right thing, that's substantial injustice on its own. People are suffering substantial injustice in prisons every day. You shouldn't be.
There will be many people listening to this, and I'm sure you've heard this, but there'll be many people listening to this on the radio that will say, well, you know, a man was killed, and they'd say, well, 13 years in prison, there you were. You were the person in that place, and frankly, they'd say you deserve it. What would you say to those people listening?
I totally get that. I do get that to a point, but I should be doing time for what I've done, what I'm guilty of. And like I said, I've explained to you about my intent in that flat. Just because I'm a drug addict don't mean people just make assumptions too quickly. You need to take a bit more time, explore things a bit more, don't be too quick to judge, and think about situations. Everyone's been in situations where they wish they wouldn't dare. So just think about it, a bit of empathy, even for underclasses like I was, drug addicts.
What message would you like to give to Augustine Manuez's family?
Anything I could ever do for that family. If they ever want to meet me, I know it's going to be difficult, but I'm prepared to do anything I can. If it helps them in any way, I don't know what I can do, but I am just sorry. It's not enough, I know it's not, but there's nothing else I can do. I hope my actions in prison and the way I'm going to live my life from now on will evidence that.
That was John Crilly talking to Kieran Tracy, our reporter here at 5 Live Breakfast. Well, we've spoken to Mr. Mademoiselle's family. They told us of their anger and their disappointment at this. They were sickened that he was walking free, not having completed his murder sentence, and they said decisions like this corroded